Welcome to GoPro Photographer. My name is Tim Courtney, and I'm a Hollywood celebrity photographer. Before I begin sharing with you today some helpful techniques and tips, I want to tell you a little bit about GoPro Photographer. It's a course I designed that was specifically made for people who are beginners or intermediates who could get in there and you could even not have your camera yet and become a successful professional photographer, taking great outstanding photos and financially improving your income. GoPro Photographer has over 5 hours just over 5 hours of training that is available to you that can actually help you and launch you into as a professional photographer. One of the main reasons I really put this course together was that I wanted people to be able to have something that could afford, that they could do, and learn from someone who's been a Hollywood celebrity photographer. Learned a lot of the secrets, the tips, the techniques, and all the things that you need to know. And why GoPro is so important is like in school you can learn ABCs, or you can learn for instance, the add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And those are the things you have to know, and those are the things we're going to need in life, and we're going to apply those in our life. And it's really helpful if we know how to do those so we can make our life better. We don't always do calculus, trigonometry, geometry, and all these other type of parts that go with math. Those parts are some things you'll learn, and you can learn extras at school and stuff like going to school, but if you'll purchase GoPro Photography today, what you're going to get is the things you have to have, the things you need to know, the vital things. And if you know these things, these techniques, tips, and secrets that I give to you, you're going to be off and you're going to be hot and successful in your career, taking that passion of photography that you have and make it into something big. You know, one of the things I find so really interesting is, I don't know about you, but it's like when I go get, I pay for my gym membership, I pay for for a manicure, I pay for a massage, or if I pay for go to the movies, I pay to go to dinner. No one yet has given me any money back for doing that. When I go to the movies, they don't say, okay, pay this, and after you go to the movie and you've seen the movie and you like it or you don't like it, we're going to give you some more money back. I've never had that happen yet. And what GoPro Photographer does for you is just that. You're going to invest less than $100 an hour for this course. That's amazing. To take it from the level of professionalism of where I've come from and what I'm able to offer you, it's like for less than $100 an hour you can have the GoPro course, which is actually going to be some money you're going to spend out right now. But within 1 to 2 photo sessions, if you'll do the things I've got in this program, if you'll take this and do it, you're going to make more than that money that you're spending for GoPro Photographer now within 1 or 2 photo sessions. So it's well worth it. This is one of those things that's going to last a lifetime that can keep giving back to you for a very small cost. I encourage you today. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about aperture. Let's learn a little bit now. An aperture is the numbers on the camera, okay, that we have here. When you get your lens, it comes with the lens and the aperture. It says 2.6, 2.8, 5.6, and all these different, we have f-stops on here, what we call them. So what we do with the aperture is something that's very helpful to us to know that the lower the number, the more light is coming into the lens, okay? The higher the number, the less light is coming in. And we get into that more with the course. But right now I want to talk to you a little bit about how we can use this aperture for more control in our camera. And what we want to do is when we have more control, we get more of the photograph that we want. And to me as a professional photographer, what we always want to do is make sure that we get the shot that we really want and not what the camera just gives us when it's on automatic. So let's pretend right now with an aperture. I'm going to give you a little example. If you can see the tripod here, let's just focus on we have the top of the tripod here, and then we have my finger right here. Now if I was going to use, for instance, let's just say I have plenty of light here and I'm using an f-stop of 2.8, okay? It's one of the lower ones. And because it's lower, there's a lot more light coming in through there. So let's talk about it in a whole nother way, in the way of sharpness, focus, what we focus on and getting what we want sharp. If this was at 2.8, that's what I've set it at, okay, my aperture, and I want to focus on my finger. And this was the shot I wanted to take, was my finger. Actually, I wanted to catch my fingernail. I wanted to get it really sharp. But this is what's behind me here, was this tripod here. And maybe I really don't want the photo to be about the tripod. Now, when I shoot with a regular camera, typically when it's on automatic, I'm going to see this nice and sharp, and I'll see the tripod nice and sharp. I'll see the background sharp. I get all of that. And that's not really the story I want to tell. What I want to focus on is that fingernail. It's very interesting to me. And I love what that's doing. And there's something about that that really intrigues me. And that's the story I want to tell. So I'm taking when I focus, I'm at 2.6 and I focus, what I can do there is get this sharp, is focus on the fingernail, get it nice and sharp. And then this, what is behind, as it starts moving behind, all this starts becoming just a little distorted, a little blurry in the photograph. It's not so defined. Another thing, let's say, for instance, I love the tripod, but there was this finger here in front of it, and it kind of looks cool because it looks like it's kind of pointing up, and I like the way that looks. But the story I want to tell is about the tripod this time, not my finger. I can still leave it at 2.8. But my focus, when I go to focus at the end of the camera, I'm going to focus on the part of the tripod that intrigues me most. And I'm going to get that nice and sharp. And this is going to be a little more distorted. Maybe it's a finger that didn't look so good. Maybe it's got something on it that doesn't look so good, but I like the idea of that finger in there. So, and you can apply that to if it was fence post or if it was, people standing here the same way. What's your story? What's your focus? What is it you want sharp and clean? Use it that way. Let's turn it around a little bit. Let's say our numbers were going up high. When the numbers go up high again, there's less light coming into the lens. When there's less light coming in, that's a good thing for us. In this case, let's say when it's nice and sunny outside and we have lots of light, we can go with less light. So, but in the instance we're using here, we have the tripod, and once again, we have the finger, the magic finger, the one that looks so fantastic. So we're going to go with this, and what I want this time is I want this sharp, and I want that sharp, because I like that whole story. So now I'm going to up my f-stop, my aperture. I'm going to change over to like the go for a stop of 8 or maybe 11 or 16, depends on where I want to go with it. Depends on how much detail. We call this depth of field when we're using this. It's the depth of field that we have going on, okay? And so that's a little bit about aperture. Just give you a little bit about that, the light coming in. So it's a little information for you today on that. I'm going to give you another tip. Let's talk about, people talk to me about polarizers on the end of their lenses all the time. Polarizers are wonderful if you want to do landscape and if you want to do objects and things like outside. I had a student lately come out with some red chili peppers that were hanging on a vine that he photographed. I said, oh, it would have been great to use your polarizer on that, or if you're shooting the landscape, like I said, or objects. Fantastic. Polarizer, all a polarizer is about doing is saturation. Now you can use that in the different type of Photoshop programs there are to saturate, but you can shoot it that way and have it already done if you like to. And it's a wonderful thing to take around when you're shooting landscapes and objects. So a polarizer also comes in circular, where you can move it at the end. A circular polarizer, if you're going to get one, I would advise getting a circular one, where you can adjust it at the end of your lens, and it'll give you different variations of the saturation, and you can do that. If you ever I did a photo of a barn once, and I was in Kentucky, and there was the barn, and behind it were all these big, huge, beautiful clouds. And all I did was I took that polarizer and I saturated that out, and those clouds just look like they're coming flying right on through. It saves me sometimes time on the other end of having to mess with that, and I can put it in the place, saturate the area that I want to do with a circular polarizer.